In 2015, the national debt stood at 28.8%. 2016 realized an increase of 2.39%, putting it at 31.19%. 2017, the debt went up to 33.8%, with a difference of 2.6%. In 2018, it stood at 35.12%. In 2019, the debt shot up to 38.23%, bringing the difference to 3.1%. In 2020, the COVID year, the debt went up to 46.05%, with a significant difference of 7.82%. In 2021, it's projected to stand at 50.93% should the country borrow more. In 2022, the debt is projected to shoot at 54.87%, with increased interest rate on loans. But what exactly explains this trend?
The borrowing for Isimba and Karuma dams about 3 or 4 financial years ago, that's the start of the increase substantially of our borrowing.
Economists have underpinned the ballooning expenses on non-competitive infrastructure, which has weakened household demand, and as such, it sends the country back into a borrowing spiral.
You don't say now that I put power there, I put roads there, people should just invest. Households which generate demand for an economy are very critical. And so we did not balance household incomes in order to sustain the economic growth and create value out of the infrastructure stock that we were building up.
Look at Iganga, Tirinyi, Mbare Road, which has been there for such a long time, and the kind of homesteads you have just adjacent to that facility. It is a sad story. You see just bits of dry cassava on a brand new tarmac road, and that's all. So that means that's not value for money.
The financial sector, which relies on banking assets owned by foreign shareholders, has not been spared either. These may be forced out of the economy if the government fails to pay.
Because you lend money to somebody to build an arcade, to build apartments, to buy a bus, to buy a lorry, to build a farm, or do all sorts of things. But this is not performing because the economy is not doing well. So you, the lender, are at a risk of losing that money.
Government also needs to be bored on the shrinking of the government kind of existing machinery. You need to reduce the size of government, especially where there is simply lots of consumptive expenditures.
Economists have cautioned government to restructure policies to rehabilitate the economy, but also be mindful of lending institutions like the IMF.
Overall, Ugandans need to do their own homework and not depend on information charity of International Monetary Fund, for instance, and the World Bank, and many of whom are lenders. They are looking for outlets for their money.
Economists are strongly questioning the value for the money that Uganda has borrowed over time, but yet Ministry of Finance is confident that the domestic revenue strategy will help curb this problem. But the question is, how effective will this strategy be to redeem the country from the current economic sepsis? Olivia Nakalembe, NBS, Live at 9.